In the heart of a dense forest, a fierce battle raged. An elf, amidst the chaos, sensed a looming danger and glanced back, only to find himself nearly fatally wounded by a monstrous creature. A mysterious figure intervened, saving the elf from certain death, leaving the elf in a state of shock and gratitude. Overwhelmed by the selfless act, the elf expressed his thanks for protecting their tribe. As a token of appreciation, the elf offered the rescuer a special gift, introducing him to his sister. The elf's sister, in turn, warmly introduced herself to the man who had saved her brother's life, expressing her willingness to be with him. As time unfolded, the community rejoiced, their happiness evident as they witnessed the blossoming relationship between the man and the elf. The culmination of their love story arrived in the form of a wedding ceremony, where the elf, radiating joy, exchanged smiles with her beloved. Together they walked hand in hand, symbolizing their unity and commitment. The man presented her with a ring, a symbol of their eternal bond, and they were pronounced happily married, sealing their love in the presence of their community. Suddenly, a voice shattered the idyllic scene, commanding everyone to stop. A spotlight illuminated the speaker, revealing that the entire sequence was merely a scene from a game they were observing. The speaker emphasized that Aries was not just a game, it was an entirely new world. The audience was taken aback, realizing that what they had perceived as reality was, in fact, a meticulously crafted gameplay experience. Some initially mistook it for computer-generated imagery due to its lifelike quality. The host then revealed that Pureum Co. Ltd. Had transcended the boundaries of realistic gaming by creating an entirely new world powered by a super artificial intelligence. This divine being, known as the God of Aries, evaluated each user and bestowed abilities based on their achievements within the game. Those who received a revelation from the God of Aries would gain extraordinary powers and the opportunity to become heroes, earning fame and glory. Players could even establish their own factions and rule as kings, achieving anything they could in the real world. The crowd erupted in excitement, captivated by the game's unparalleled quality and the boundless possibilities it offered. The stage buzzed with eager anticipation as people clamored to purchase the game, eager to immerse themselves in this new reality. In the year 2045, Pureum Co. Ltd. released Aries, and within a year, the game's user base exploded, surpassing 1 billion players. One player remarked on the game's realism, noting that their real-world physique was reflected in their in-game avatar. Another player pointed out an event that had been present since the game's initial release, a challenge to break a dummy in 10 hits. Despite 1.2 billion attempts, no one had yet succeeded. One of the players commented that 10 hits seemed sufficient to break the dummy, but his companion countered that even gold medalist athletes had failed to do so, generating significant buzz around the challenge. A voice from behind urged them to move aside, and they turned to see Madoseok, renowned as the strongest man among primates. Madoseok declared his intention to break the dummy, his imposing size leaving onlookers in awe. Some speculated that he could defeat a bear with his bare hands. Madoseok prepared to strike, the dummy appearing small in comparison to his massive frame. He hoped to justify the 50 million won he had spent on a VVIP capsule. With a mighty roar, he unleashed a powerful punch, sending the dummy flying backward. The team leader, observing from the sidelines, wondered if Madoseok would finally succeed. A female colleague hoped for his success, fearing that his failure would lead players to believe that the quest was impossible, designed solely to attract attention and exploit players' money. The team leader considered intervening if Madoseok failed, but his colleague questioned whether the CEO would approve. Meanwhile, Madoseok, drenched in sweat, was stunned to realize that he had failed the quest. The two team members knew they were in trouble and anticipated a flood of complaints. They decided to grab dinner first, hoping to delay the inevitable. Just then, another team member called, announcing that another challenger was approaching. The team leader turned back, curious. A man stood before the dummy, holding a sword. The female colleague noted that he was wearing basic gear and wielding a sword from the cash shop. The two decided to ignore him and proceed with their dinner plans as the man prepared to draw his sword. He focused his mind, and suddenly a tremendous explosion echoed through the area. The two turned back in astonishment, their eyes widening at the sight before them. The dummy had been cleaved in two with a single, effortless swing. The man received a reward of +5 to all stats and 200 fame for his accomplishment. The two team members were dumbfounded, unable to believe that someone had finally completed the challenge. They stared at the man in disbelief, noting that he appeared to be an ordinary person. Then, the team leader noticed something and began searching for the grade of the man's sword. The female colleague was speechless when she saw the results. "The result is strange," she said, and the team leader agreed that it would be even stranger if it weren't. The sword was revealed to be an epic-grade weapon called Daylight. The team leader was astounded, struggling to comprehend how an ordinary-looking player could possess such a rare and powerful weapon. He wondered, who in the world is that guy? In the dead of night, the rhythmic clang of a hammer echoed through the darkness, accompanied by the flickering glow of a burning fire. A lone blacksmith toiled away, shaping metal with focused intensity, his movements precise and deliberate. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the shadows, drawn by the sounds of labor. It was a man overcome with emotion, tears of joy streaming down his face as he recognized his long-lost father. As the son approached, his father turned, his voice raspy as he spoke, "It's still hot!" A wave of fear washed over the son as he noticed the intense heat radiating from his father's body. In an instant, the blacksmith was engulfed in flames, the fire consuming him entirely. The son cried out in horror, urging his father to escape the inferno, but the blacksmith remained motionless, a tragic figure consumed by the blaze. The son awoke with a start, the chilling dream still vivid in his mind, a recurring nightmare that haunted his waking hours. In the sterile environment of a hospital room, a man sat glued to the screen, engrossed in a live Ares game broadcast. He lamented the seemingly insurmountable challenge of breaking through the game's dummy using brute physical strength. Just then, a figure approached, his face marked by a network of scars, a testament to a life marked by hardship. The man recognized him and offered a warm greeting. He voiced his frustration, complaining about the scar-faced man's absence during evenings due to work commitments and his refusal to allow visits to his ailing father in the hospital. The scar-faced man inquired about his desires, prompting the man to retort with a question of his own, questioning whether the heavy clothing was causing discomfort in the heat. The scar-faced man's expression darkened, annoyance flickering across his features. He issued a veiled threat, questioning the man's desire to meet an untimely end. The man quickly apologized, steering the conversation back on track, inquiring about the scar-faced man's familiarity with the game Ares. The scar-faced man admitted his ignorance, eliciting disbelief from the man, who proceeded to explain the game's unique event, one that had yet to be conquered by any player. He highlighted the grand prize, a VVIP game capsule valued at an astounding 50 million won. The man proposed they attempt the challenge together, but the scar-faced man expressed skepticism, citing the countless failures and questioning their odds of success. The man countered, acknowledging the difficulty but emphasizing that it was not an impossibility, particularly when it came to breaking the dummy, suggesting the scar-faced man possessed a unique advantage. The scar-faced man's confusion was evident, prompting the man to later showcase a standard game capsule with a staggering price tag of 10 million won. The scar-faced man was taken aback, struggling to comprehend the exorbitant cost and the fact that millions were actively participating in the game. The man justified the expense, highlighting the potential to trade in-game items for real currency. With the explanation concluded, the man inquired whether the scar-faced man was prepared to embark on this virtual adventure. The scar-faced man's demeanor shifted, his tone serious as he questioned the origins of the capsule. The man dismissed the inquiry as irrelevant, urging him to focus on the potential profits they could reap. The scar-faced man pressed further, seeking assurance of guaranteed earnings, dismissing the entire endeavor as reckless. The man vehemently disagreed, framing it as an investment with promising prospects. The scar-faced man challenged him, demanding a rationale for such optimism. The man leaned in, lowering his voice as he revealed the existence of the blacksmith class within the game. He declared that Kang Hyun-soo, the scar-faced man, was the sole heir to a world-renowned master craftsman, emphasizing that breaking a wooden dummy should be well within his capabilities. Kang Hyun-soo, intrigued, questioned the true nature of the proposition. He reached up, removing his cap, revealing the extent of his scars, a stark reminder of a traumatic past. The man recoiled, witnessing the full extent of Kang Hyun-soo's disfigurement for the first time. A flashback flooded Kang Hyun-soo's mind, transporting him back to a scene of chaos and destruction. He was running amidst a raging fire, desperately searching for his father. He spotted his father lying unconscious, his heart pounding with fear. Driven by filial love, Kang Hyun-soo charged into the inferno, determined to rescue his father. He managed to hoist his father onto his back, tears streaming down his face as he struggled to carry him to safety. They barely escaped with their lives, but his father never regained consciousness. The mounting hospital bills plunged them into poverty, forcing Kang Hyun-soo to work tirelessly to make ends meet. For a decade, he followed in his father's footsteps, swinging the hammer and forging metal, the tools of his trade. But now, his right arm had lost its strength, rendering him unable to continue his craft. Tears welled up as he dropped the hammer, the weight of his physical limitations crushing his spirit. He expressed gratitude to his friend for his unwavering support, but insisted on handling his own burdens. He urged his friend to return the capsule, deeming the 10 million won investment a reckless waste. His friend retorted, questioning Kang Hyun-soo's own sanity, pointing out his meager earnings and the ever-looming hospital bills, questioning how long he could sustain such a life. Kang Hyun-soo remained resolute, opening the door to leave. His friend, losing his composure, erupted in anger, reminding Kang Hyun-soo of his lifelong dream of becoming a blacksmith. He vowed to take responsibility for the financial burden, pleading with Kang Hyun-soo to trust him, just this once. Kang Hyun-soo stood speechless, the haunting dream of his father engulfed in flames replaying in his mind, uncertainty clouding his judgment. Later, at a bustling construction site, Kang Hyun-soo toiled tirelessly, driven by the urgent need to earn money for his father's medical treatment. Suddenly, the rhythmic clang of a hammer striking metal pierced the air, triggering a flood of memories. He recalled his own days at the forge, the familiar sounds and sensations flooding his senses. He couldn't shake the words his friend had spoken earlier, the promise of a chance to reignite his passion and alleviate his financial woes. Finally, he succumbed to the temptation, returning to the capsule. With hesitant movements, he opened it and stepped inside, donning the virtual reality goggles. A synthesized voice greeted him. "Welcome to the world of Aries." The system prompted him to create a nickname, and he chose Hyun-soo, a name that held deep personal significance. The character customization process began, and Kang Hyun-soo was astonished by what he witnessed. The system analyzed his body type, and to his disbelief, the scars that had marred his face and body began to fade, his physique returning to its original state. The system inquired whether he wished to proceed with this restored appearance, and without hesitation, he affirmed his choice. The system initiated the server search, and Kang Hyun-soo realized that not only had his scars vanished, but his arm had also regained its strength. Overwhelmed with joy, he reveled in the sensation of physical prowess once again. He vowed to repay his friend's generosity, determined to earn back the 10 million won. Meanwhile, in the distant Barden's territory, within the confines of Len's Blacksmith, an elderly man labored tirelessly. He muttered to himself, vowing not to give up, determined to surpass his instructors and forge a sword superior to his rival's creation. He struck the metal with his hammer, each blow fueled by anger and frustration, chanting, "Just work!" Suddenly, a voice interrupted his concentration. "That's not how you do it! The old man whirled around, confused by the presence of an outsider, demanding to know what he had said. Hyunsu, brimming with confidence, reiterated his assertion, stating that the old man's technique was flawed. Hyunsu said that you'll never make a strong sword like that, and the old man replied, "What does he know? He's an outsider." Hyunsu said it looked like the old man was forging a sword and he couldn't just stand by and watch. The old man said, "You're talking like you know how it's done." Then the old man walked up to him and suddenly challenged him to show how it was done. Hyunsu took the hammer. His original plan was to get on the old man's side, but things turned out like this. But maybe this would work, so he said he had one condition. The old man asked what it was, and Hyunsu replied that if he proved his skills, the old man should let him keep the sword he forged himself. In return, Hyunsu would show him something worthy. The old man laughed at his behavior. "That's good confidence you have," he said. Then he stopped. "If you fail, you'll pay the price," he added. Hyunsu agreed. In front of the hot metal, Hyunsu felt anxious. It had been 3 years since he last forged. But then he decided to just do it. He began hammering the sword, and with every impact, painful memories of his dad, his friend, and himself flooded back. Slowly, the feeling of forging returned to him, and he was glad. He hammered every corner wisely. The old man watched, thinking Hyunsu would only copy most blacksmiths, but he soon realized the kid might know a little. Even so, he thought this was Hyunsu's limit and wondered why the boy looked so happy. To the old man, happiness didn't matter, only results. He figured there was no way a skilled blacksmith would be in the starting zone, so he thought this was a waste of time. Then he was shocked. Hyunsu was folding the metal, reheating it, and tempering it again. The old man realized this technique could improve the metal's strength and remove impurities, and he wondered why he'd never thought of something so simple. He doubted it would work, so he used his appraisal skill. To his surprise, the D-grade steel had become C-grade. He'd forged C-grade before, but never this fast. He knew Hyunsu wasn't bluffing, but still thought a few tricks meant nothing without true skill, and that the boy couldn't raise the grade any higher. The next morning, the old man woke up to find he'd dozed off. He was speechless when he saw Hyunsu still working, happy and lively, with no hint of tiredness. He wondered if Hyunsu had been at it all night. Then the metal in Hyunsu's hands began to shine brightly. The old man was stunned. It was already B-grade. He realized it was possible to make a strong sword, and that Hyunsu might even be aiming higher. Just then, Hyunsu began to feel weak. He'd pushed himself too hard. The old man grabbed the metal and started helping him. Hyunsu was glad, and the two worked together, with the old man taking notes as he watched. In the end, he was shocked to discover they could create a rare sword in the starter village, something he'd never imagined possible with his item-grade vision. "You'll forge a great sword," he said. "Aren't you excited?" Hyunsu shook his head. "It's still early to celebrate," he said. "We still need to finish the hilt, and the blade must be honed to a much finer edge." The old man was surprised. "I've never met an outsider like you," he said. Hyunsu smiled. "I've loved smithing since I was a kid." The old man decided to give him something special. "Try forging again with this," he said, handing over a stone that glowed with green light. Hyunsu asked what it was. "Mithril ore," the old man replied, an heirloom passed down through his family. He gave it as thanks for showing him such skills, explaining the ore was beyond his own ability to work with. He wanted to see what kind of sword Hyunsu could make with it. Hyunsu was speechless. Mithril didn't exist in the real world. Maybe he could forge a legendary sword like those in stories. The old man asked if he could call Hyunsu Master. But Hyunsu said the old man looked like his grandfather. "Age is just a number," the old man replied. The two spent the night bonding. 1 month later, Hyunsu tested the sword. With one slash, he cut through a dummy. It was the epic sword he'd named Daylight, and he did it as a level 1 player with no class. Meanwhile, at the Parium LTD Management Center, 2 staff members were impressed. "Just do your job, or you'll get demoted, the girl said. The team leader replied he was taking a break since he couldn't find any information on Hyun-soo. The girl told him the boy's name was Kim Hyun-soo, 23, and he'd logged in from an acquaintance's home. She added he'd requested his real identity be hidden, something both found confusing since he could be a celebrity in the real world. The team leader wondered where Hyun-soo was now, and the girl felt concerned. Hyun-soo had entered the hunting trainer center. "This is where real monsters appear," said Relson, the instructor. "You won't pass the test. You're only level 1. "I don't want to waste time." Hyun-soo said he wouldn't dare waste the man's time, then pulled out his sword. "I'll be using this," he said.